Saquon Barkley had the juice. Tank Bigsby looks like a heck of a pickup as a number 2 running back, especially if Barkley's out for any amount of time.
You're tuned in to the Ross Tucker Football Podcast, guiding your gridiron journey, none other than your host, former NFL lineman, Ross Tucker.
Oh, yeah, it is. But it's not just any Ross Tucker Football Podcast. It's a Monster Monday, which means I got everything that happened on the Sunday that was Week 8 in the NFL. First, I'll give you the overarching themes. And actually, there was more on this Sunday than I can remember in quite some time in terms of total themes that I think we can take moving forward. Then I'll give you everything you need to know. It's usually about 2 or 3 things per game from the Sunday that was in the National Football League. Always a lot to get to. Big week. Of course, we'll have college draft podcast today. Emory Hunt still has a winning record with his college football bets. Even money will be both Tuesday and Thursday if you're into NFL betting. And even just if you want to hear on Thursdays, Dr. Chow with the injury report is so valuable. He was the first person I heard say that Lamar Jackson might not play yesterday. And guess what? He didn't, which is actually one of the themes. It's Big Show time.
The Big Show.
All right, Ross, as you mentioned throughout the intro, what are your themes from Week 8 across the NFL?
You know, Jack, there's a bunch of football themes that I want to get to. I'm actually surprised how many there were. Usually I have 2 or 3. Today I feel like I have maybe 4, 5, or 6 from yesterday. But I'm going to start with something else because I want to start with that before we get into all the football stuff. And I'll make this my Labatt take of the week, even though it's not really, in my mind, a take. Brought to you by Labatt. With Labatt, you can buy beer and get gear. Go to their website, snap a photo of your receipt, and upload to gain points towards exclusive merch. Any size, any product, anywhere you're buying Labatt, sign up at rewards.labattusa.com. Yesterday was incredibly sad to hear the news about Nick Mangold passing away at age 41. I didn't know him as well as his teammates did, but I've been around him a bunch of times. Just an awesome dude. And to think that he had 4 young kids, that really, really hurts. You know, when things like this happen, people say, oh, it really puts things in perspective in life. How long does that last? A week, 2 weeks, maybe a month? Hopefully it lasts longer because I think we all get so wrapped up in things that don't really matter that much. It's why I intentionally stay away from the news or politics or negativity. What matters is your health and your family and your loved ones. That's what matters. And right now, thinking quite a bit about Nick Mangold's loved ones. The other stuff I would say, Jack, from a strictly football standpoint, you know, to be honest with you, I didn't know if I start with the football and then say the Nick thing or start with the Nick thing and then get into football. But I certainly wanted to talk about my thoughts on Nick Mangold. From a football standpoint, I mean, I guess this isn't really a theme, but Myles Garrett to have 5 sacks in a game his team lost by like 20 points, that is bananas. For him to have the most sacks before age 30 in NFL history is super impressive. Some of the other things that really jumped out, where'd all these points come from? I mean, just think about this. Dolphins 34, Ravens 30, Buffalo 40, Jets 39, Bengals 38, Patriots 32, Eagles 38, Broncos 44, Colts 38, Packers 35. You know, when I make my picks on Wednesday, I rarely pick a team to score in the 30s, especially with what's been going on in the NFL with all the too deep coverages and trying to not allow explosive plays. That's the most points I can remember in a long time. I'll tell you the other thing that jumped out, One one-score game the whole day. That Jets-Bengals game was the only one-score game the whole day. I have never seen that. I have never seen that in my entire life as an NFL fan, player, analyst. One-score game on a whole Sunday of football? That is unheard of. You know, when you watch it, you see all these pre-snap penalties, and this is a big thing the last couple of years in the NFL as teams try to do more fancy motions. The Cowboys had like 5 pre-snap penalties. That makes it so hard to win. The other two things, which I feel like we could talk about every week, coaching situations. Coaching and or player awareness situations. That final set of downs for the Bears, what an utter debacle. I mean, are you kidding me? You're down 2 scores like that, and you're consistently getting tackled in the field of play, and the clock keeps moving. That was horrendous and unacceptable. The flip side is, I know my guy Steve Fezzik on the Even Money Betting podcast has been really hard on Aaron Glenn. Kudos to Aaron Glenn for knowing to go for 2 when you're down 8 late. That was smart. Gives you a better chance to actually win the game. And it worked. They got the 2-point conversion. Then they kicked the extra point and they win the game. The goal is to win the game, not to tie the game. And then I see this every week, but the tush push the Eagles have, now they got away with one yesterday. We'll get to that. But the advantage the Eagles have, the Bucs, it took them 8 tries to get 1 yard against the Saints on the goal line. 8 tries to get 1 yard. It's just an immense advantage that not just the Eagles, look at the Bills. Any team that's good at the push play or quarterback sneak play, huge, huge edge. More great stuff right after this. Do you guys have any idea how hard it is to get 60,000 5-star reviews for anything in life? Really, really hard. But that's what my friends at westshorehome.com/Ross have been able to get done as America's most trusted home remodeler. I've told you guys a million times now, here's 1,000,001. Go to westshorehome.com/Ross. See the before and after pictures. What do they say? A picture's worth 1,000 words? Well, how about you get the 1,000 words and you get the full bath remodel and then get a shower replaced and another bathroom free. Or you get the house full of windows and get an entry door free. Plus, the exclusive discount of $500 just for being listeners or people that check out the show at westshorehome.com/Ross is amazing. westshorehome.com/Ross. See the website for details. Very rare for me to be home on a Saturday night and go to a party with my wife and family. But thankfully, I was able to go to an epic Halloween party and drink Labatt Blue Light. Now, I didn't actually purchase the Labatt Blue Light. It was at the party because my buddy Matt knows what's up. However, if I had purchased it, and I told Matt about this, rewards.labattusa.com. It's called Buy Beer, Get Gear. Rewards.labattusa.com. You get points for every purchase at any store, bar, or stadium.
We'll move to our individual recaps, Ross, starting with the Dolphins. They beat the Falcons in a dominant fashion, 34-10.
I don't know what the deal is with the Falcons. I don't know how anybody could. You know, Kirk Cousins played instead of Michael Penix Jr. because Penix Jr.'s got this bone bruise or whatever. He didn't play that well. I thought it might end up being a showcase game of sorts for Kirk Cousins. It was anything but. I mean, that was the best game of the year for the Dolphins defense. That's for sure. The Falcons couldn't run the ball. Didn't run the ball enough. They didn't have Drake London. Bijan Robinson had a costly fumble, which really hurt them. You know, meanwhile, offensively for the Dolphins, I got to say something because he's been on the show. He's been on the show with his brother. His dad's been on the show. Our guy, family friend and also former user of GoBigRecruiting.com, Hayden Rucci, was elevated to the active roster for for the Dolphins for the first time with Darren Waller going on IR. And the Dolphins ran the ball better than they have all year. I saw him have a pancake block right behind him. I saw him have a terrific cutoff block on a split zone. Congratulations to Hayden Rucci and the Rucci family. That is so cool. And then they went out there and had a dominant victory. Tua with the visor, 4 touchdowns, even though no Tyreek Hill, no Darren Waller, supposedly good Falcons pass defense. Tua looked phenomenal. Waddle had a big game. I don't know where that came from for the Dolphins, but certainly I wasn't expecting it. I don't think anybody was.
Nobody really was, in my opinion. Baltimore, they got a crucial win without Lamar Jackson, beating the Bears, who were on a pretty good streak, 30-16.
Well, you're right. Tyler Huntley, first of all, the Ravens needed this win desperately. There's some talk that Lamar will be good to go on Thursday night against the Miami Dolphins, which suddenly is a much juicier game. Ravens-Dolphins. There's some talk that Lamar might be ready to go. I would think if he couldn't go Sunday, it's only 4 days later, maybe give that hamstring 10 more days. But they need every win. I mean, they're in like playoff mode right now. But Tyler Huntley played. I remember Lamar's from Miami, but Tyler Huntley played well. The Bears kept settling for field goals and leaving points on the field all day. When you do that, it's going to come back to haunt you. And I guess I still have concerns, I would say, about Caleb Williams' football IQ. I mean, those intentional grounding penalties, the bad pick, plus that whole end of the game goal-to-goal series. I don't know how much of that's Ben Johnson, how much that's Caleb Williams, but the football IQ for the Chicago Bears on that last set of downs was super, super concerning if I'm a Bears fan. Other than that, Ravens had a bunch of guys step up on defense. Second week in a row, they played well on that side of the ball. Roquan, Teddy Buchanan, the rookie, Mike Green, the rookie, Nate Wiggins had a nice play too.
Next up, the Bills. They took care of business on the road, beating the Panthers, 49.
You know what you need to say there?
42-9. Yeah.
49
Usually
is like 49 what?
I know, because I'm used to be like 38-27, and it's like, but yeah, no.
49 sounds like a number. Actually, Jack, 49 is in fact a number.
Are you sure?
Yes.
No.
It's one less than 50.
We'll have to check that.
42-9, Buffalo 40, Carolina 9, Bills 40, Panthers 9. A lot of things would have been communicated better there. By the way, you know what I love about busting your chops every once in a while? There's
What's
like 90% of the people love it, and it gives them like a chuckle or a smile as they're driving to work or working out or watching us on youtube.com/RossTuckerNFL. But there's always at least one DOJ, defender of Jack. Like, don't pick on your producer. Seems like a good guy. Dude, it's all tongue-in-cheek. You know what I mean? It's all in good fun. Jack loves it, actually. I think Brian used to get a little sensitive about it, but Jack loves it. I will say this, Bills fans shouldn't love that biceps injury for Ed Oliver. That's super concerning. What an insane game for James Cook as the Bills just ran over the Carolina Panthers. Andy Dalton and the Carolina offense, they looked horrible. I mean, the turnovers, the sacks that you just can't take. The Bills' defense was clearly much better. They got the reinforcements with Ogunjobi and Hoyt. And you know what could have been a theme also, Jack, from yesterday? Athletic defensive lineman interceptions. Tillman for the Bucks. How about Anthony Nelson for the Bucks with the touchdown? That was crazy. Epinesa almost scored a touchdown. People have no idea how much of a freak show athletes. They're over 250 pounds. You know how crazy it is that they're able to move that well? It's wild.
Moving on, winless no more. The Jets, they beat the Cincinnati Bengals 39-38. Keyword
Nice.
2.
I like the emphasis there, Jack. I like the emphasis. Well, it ended up being the game of the day. I feel like my guys, Spiro Didis and Adam Archuleta, have had a lot of fantastic games this year. Justin Fields got the start, even though all signs were pointing towards Tyrod Taylor. Then Tyrod Taylor's knee was banged up. The same week that the owner basically came out and ripped Justin Fields, that he can't complete a pass. He led the Jets to over 500 yards of offense without Garrett Wilson. That should be impossible if you're the Bengals defense. That should honestly be impossible to be that bad. Breece Hall had a huge game, including the game-winning touchdown turned out to be to Mason Taylor. That's crazy. I mean, who has a running back throw a pass with less than 2 minutes remaining? Who has a running back like double clutch, pump fake, run a couple more yards, then he throws it? What was that? I cannot believe that worked. That was crazy. I mentioned the awesome analytics decision by Aaron Glenn to go for 2, down 8. For the Bengals, it certainly didn't help that Trey Hendrickson re-injured his hip. That doesn't sound real good. And then the the Bengals were up 38-24 with like 8 minutes left, and the Jets had a 4th down, and the Jets won the game. Flacco and the Bengals had 38 points, but not enough. They needed to score one more. And even after the Jets scored, you still thought, okay, Flacco and the Bengals will go down and get a field goal. Nope. That's a devastating, devastating loss for the Cincinnati Bengals. And by the way, congratulations to Aaron Glenn, and especially those Jets players. I was on an 0-5 team. I was on an 0-4 team. That is painful. I'm so glad those guys got to celebrate.
The Texans, they beat the Purdy-less Niners 26-15.
This was a surprise. Those of you that listen or watch youtube.com/RossTuckerNFL, both of the Even Money Betting Podcast episodes. You know what's interesting? I don't know how long the Texans were favored in this game, but if the Niners had been favored, I wouldn't have done the teaser leg, but I did because the Niners were 1.5 underdogs, and I thought the Niners had a great chance to win the game. It said they lose by 11. CJ Stroud, this was like a vintage CJ Stroud game. Just incredible with the timing, the anticipation, the accuracy. I mean, the throws he made without Nico Collins and Christian Kirk out there. I mean, it was a lot of rookies. Jaden Higgins, Jalen Noel, Woody Marks had another big day. And the defense is just outrageous. You know, the 49ers, the San Francisco 49ers, had no first downs the first 29 minutes of the game. Not a single first down. Mac Jones had a bad interception late in the game when the Niners still had a chance. It was first down. You can't throw that ball. Texans defense in general and D-line in particular dominant, but that's every week. I don't even know if that's something I should mention with the Texans anymore. That is every week.
New England moves to 5-2, beating Myles Garrett 32-13.
Well, it took the Patriots offense a while. I mean, almost the whole first half, but they finally broke through against that solid Browns defense. Didn't help, by the way, that Carson Schwarzenegger got hurt for the Browns. We already talked about Myles Garrett's 5 sacks. Browns actually had a lead in this game, but they were not able to do very much after they scored a touchdown on their opening script. And I think probably the most concerning thing is that Dylan Gabriel had a pair of bad picks. You know, the idea is that Dylan Gabriel is supposed to be really smart and take care of the football. But if he's going to turn it over, there's no reason to have him out there. That said, that was really the first game I remember where Gabriel was careless with the football, so you got to chalk up one of those. Meanwhile, for the Patriots, Drake May, you know, Greg Cosell says it every week here on the Ross Tucker Football Podcast, either Thursday or Friday, but Drake May's just good every game. Guess what? When you're good every game, you're just good. And Drake May's just good. Travion Henderson, they got him involved, which would really help, too, with his speed out of the backfield.
The Eagles, they beat the Giants, who lost Cam Scadaboo in a 38-20 loss.
So there's a bunch of things to say about this. I think it's fair, given how the year has gone, to make this Eagles performance in particular by the running game. The 11oaksfarms.com/Ross hungriest performance of the week. Genuine Wagyu beef, Angus beef. They also have heritage breed pork and free-range chicken, all locally raised right here in Central PA and available nationwide online. I have been there and I have eaten this food. It's amazing. 11oaksfarms.com/Ross. 11oaksfarms.com/Ross. Eagles' running game was dominant. Not just one, but two running backs go over 100 yards. And what was cool about it is it was everybody. Saquon Barkley had the juice. Tank Bigsby looks like a heck of a pickup as a number 2 running back, especially if Barkley's out for any amount of time. But the offensive line, even that first touchdown for Saquon Barkley, Landon Dickerson with the left-hand punch, got an extra block. The tight ends blocked well. The long touchdown run by Saquon Barkley, Devontae Smith had a good block downfield. To have a big-time running game like the Eagles did yesterday, it takes everyone. They have to all want it, and boy, oh boy, did they. Other takeaways, I would say, from the game would just be the Eagles got a huge break on the Jalen Hurts early blow the whistle on the tush-push fumble. Should have been a fumble, but they did blow the whistle. I mean, you could hear it. They blew the whistle. They said his forward progress was stopped. I think they're told to blow the whistle early on that play, which ended up really hurting the Giants. The Scadaboo injury was absolutely horrible. A, because I love him as a player, but B, just anytime you see a guy's foot and ankle pointing the wrong direction, that is just not something any of us want to see. That's a tough thing to look at. I've seen guys' body parts pointing the wrong direction, and that's the type of stuff that makes you want to throw up. I thought Hurts was really good throwing the ball in the middle of the field, especially to Devontae Smith. You can't let Devontae Smith be that open the whole game if you're the Giants. What are you doing? A.J. Brown wasn't even playing. I thought Jackson Dart was slippery, as he always is, which gave the Giants a chance, but definitely the D-line for the Eagles kept attacking him. I thought it was, in fact, Jalix Hunt, I thought it was his best game probably as an Eagle. Don't go anywhere. Got to pay some bills real quick. I always love meeting you guys when I get a chance to do these games. So if any of you are going to be at the Air Force game against Army on Saturday, hit me up with an email or on social media. You can get in for $42 right now. I mean, the get-in price is in the $40 on my beloved Game Time app. By the way, that includes the fees, because fees are included on the Game Time app. You know already about the lowest price guarantee. The seat views are fantastic. Take the guesswork out of buying NFL or college tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code ROSS for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. So again, create an account and redeem code ROSS for $20 off. Swipe, tap, ticket, go. Download the Game Time app today and use that code ROSS. Smirnoff is the perfect vodka for crafting delicious cocktails that are easy to make and versatile for any and all fans over 21. It's the world's #1 vodka. It's an official vodka partner of the NFL. It's an award-winning vodka. It's been around since 1864. That in and of itself is incredible to me. Grab a bottle of Smirnoff at your local retailer and head to Smirnoff.com to find recipes of delicious cocktails perfect for game day. Please drink responsibly. Smirnoff, #21 vodka, distilled from grain, 40% alcohol by volume. The Smirnoff Company, New York, New York. Please do not share with anyone that's under legal drinking age.
Tampa Bay's defense, they were the standout in a 23-3 victory against the New Orleans Saints.
Well, they certainly were, because it wasn't like the Bucs really did that much offensively. This is the second game in a row where the Bucs offense was not real impressive. That game against the Lions, this game, they didn't need him to be, though. Between, the D-line interceptions, Oh no, Tillman, by the way, was for the Broncos. I said Tillman for the Bucs earlier. DeAndre Tillman was the Broncos. But for the Anthony Nelson pick six was incredible. Antoine Winfield was scooping up turnovers all game. In fact, it was bad enough that the Saints benched Spencer Rattler to go with Tyler Shuck. Shuck didn't really come in and light it up, didn't really help very much. I would suspect that we will see Shuck for the rest of the year. I think when Rattler was giving the Saints a chance to win, it made sense for him to be out there. But now that he's turning it over and not giving them a chance to win, it doesn't make sense for him to be out there. They gave him a pretty good sample size over the last couple years. The problem for Spencer Rattler is he's not getting better. So now I think you take the rest of the season and you see what you have in Shuck.
The Broncos offense showed up big in a game against the Cowboys. 44-24, Denver wins.
Well, the Cowboys defense just can't stop anything. I mean, forget Jerry Jones saying we need to have better run defense. They just can't stop anything, period. You know, name a guy. They all had a big game, it seemed like, for the Broncos. R.J. Harvey, the rookie running back, J.K. Dobbins. Thought Bo Nix had some really nice throws in that game. Even some of them, like the 1-2 Cortland Sutton that got dropped. Meanwhile, I mentioned earlier the Cowboys pre-snap penalties. That really hurt them. And I thought, unless I'm missing one, maybe the Bears game, felt like the worst game of the year for Dak Prescott. And the only chance the Cowboys really had in that one was if Dak was able to match them score for score. Like he's done a lot this year, but obviously he was not able to do that.
As expected, Indy, they beat the Titans with ease, 38-14.
The wild part about that is if you looked at it at halftime, because I was looking at it very closely because I've got the Titans and the Chargers on Sunday for CBS. I'm actually doubling up. Air Force Army Saturday, Chargers, Titans Sunday. But if you looked at the statistics at halftime, the Titans were playing pretty well. And that was still 17-7, but they were averaging 7 yards a play. They did some good things defensively. I thought the Titans, that was one of their better halves of football. And then the second half, it was like they fell apart, especially after Mike McCoy punted on 4th and 3, I think, from the 42. It just felt like the Titans almost went in the tank after that. Jonathan Taylor is absolutely incredible. I mean, he should be in the MVP race, but then so should his quarterback, Daniel Jones. Daniel Jones, I would say, was just efficient as usual, whereas Jonathan Taylor and the Colts offensive line, incredible.
And Green Bay with 35-25 road win in Pittsburgh.
Well, Aaron Rodgers and the Steelers' offense got off to a solid start, but they kept settling for field goals. They would get down there into Packers territory, settle for field goals. By the way, shout out to Chris Boswell because he made 3 field goals in the first half, I think, from over 50 yards. That is not easy to do at that stadium, you know, the field conditions, the whole deal. So shout out to Boswell. And it was 16-7. Steelers, 6-7. 16-7. You see my Halloween costume, Jack?
I did. That was a good one. Your intention with it is to get rid of it, so I thought it was funny.
So that's why you got to follow me on social media, by the way, at Ross Tucker NFL. They flipped the script at halftime. I mean, I thought Love was flawless, especially in the ball to Tucker Kraft, who almost got my 11 Oaks hungriest performance because that was incredible. I got to tell you, the Steelers defense looks old and slow, and their pass rush was not getting there. If their pass rush isn't getting there, those guys are not good enough on the back end to hold up, and that was pretty obvious as that game unfolded. Big win for the Packers, and the Steelers kind of come back to the pack. They're lucky that the Bengals lost to the Jets. Other than that, college draft podcast this morning as well. I think we're done here.
Thanks for tuning in to the Ross Tucker Football Podcast. Make sure to also check out Even Money, Fantasy Feast, and College Draft, all on the DraftKings Network, YouTube, or subscribe to the podcast on your favorite platform.
Shout out to myfrontpagestory.com. It's almost November, holiday season. Get them the gift that keeps on giving. MyFrontPageStory.com, BackOfficeScheduler.com, HumanHeadNYC.com, Sporticulture, Pizza Boy Brewing.